الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل إن الصلاة ونسخي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد يا عباد الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. With the name of Allah, the beneficent benefactor, the beneficent redeemer, we're instructed to say, my prayers and my service of sacrifice, my life and my death all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, highly glorified is He. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah of 14 centuries ago is a slave servant and messenger. Dear beloved Muslims, we greet you with the greeting that all the ancient words is used from Adam to the day of Assalamu alaikum. Allah has blessed us once again with an opportunity to collect ourselves in Jumah prayer, which is a very significant day in the Muslim community. We know every prayer, every day is a prayerful day. In fact, the Jumah takes place at the same time as a Dhuhr prayer, and we know that there are 4 rakats in the Jumah prayer, and the 2 rakats that we do in congregation, and then there's 2 parts to the Imam's presentation. So oftentimes we see people, making prayers and making up prayers and whatever, and we are not to mess with them. I'm just sharing with you some information. We want to say a few words today. We won't keep you too long. We've just completed our Ramadan and our Eid al-Fitr. And we just want to say a few things about that. Maybe we can title the few remarks that we want to say is the celebration of the human spirit. The celebration of the human spirit, or the victory of the human spirit. Because we know that this religion, Al-Islam, the more we find out about it, we come into it, you can never grow out of it. Many times we come with many preconceived notions as to what it is, but the more we find out about Al-Islam, the more we become attached to it. And one of the beautiful things about this religion is no force. If you have a problem or something you're laboring with, a burden, you can always petition Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and address that problem. But in celebrating this victory, many times we see, as Muslims, we see the lack of enthusiasm. Many times we like to take pride of the fastest growing religion. We are growing very fast, and we take pride in our numbers. But if the numbers are all divided and confused, the numbers don't mean anything. This is what we have to be conscious of. There are reasons why the enthusiasm leaves people. Sometimes in our ignorance or our lack of knowledge, We possessed a lot of enthusiasm. You tell a brother or sister that just new to the religion, they're so agreeable. We say we need somebody to come out and help paint. We need this, we need that. The person's new. We find it's almost like a direct proportion. If you're new, you find the enthusiastic level is very high. And we find the person that's been here for several years, we find the enthusiastic level is beginning to wax and wane. And there are reasons for this. Sometimes, and it says that when knowledge, and the Quran speaks of this, when knowledge came to the people, that's when they began to divide. That's when they began to become problematic in many cases. And sometimes we've been tested with nothing. Most of us are motivated by faith. The knowledge is yet to come, as we are works in progress. We are not completed works. We are works in progress. And celebrating this victory of the human spirit, the victory of the human being, because there are many lies that's told to the human being to kill his spirit. And we're not, we see people that come, brother come, he's a wine drinking, reefer smoking person, and he sat down, he learned for a few years and became knowledgeable, and he learned, and he was very agreeable, made a change in his life, and then once the knowledge comes, then he don't want to hear anything anymore. I don't want to do anything. But if we would look back, and if many of us would look back from where we came, it would sort of help maintain our enthusiasm. Sometimes we forget from where we were. We forget our own reality, so to speak. And the first knowledge is the knowledge of self. If you lose the knowledge of yourself, all the other knowledge doesn't mean anything. The knowledge of yourself, jihadul nafs, is the first struggle. We have people that that have lost their enthusiasm, and we're not, this is like we've said, Allah, this religion is not a forced religion. You're free. So we just want to speak just a few moments, that we're not, many of us, we're not religious students, as it were. Some of these things we don't take to heart, but Allah blesses whom He wills, and it's just incumbent for us to share this information with you. The traditions of this religion is not strong enough. The Quran speaks of many of the traditions. What's strong is the knowledge of the Quran. This is what we should strive for, is to learn more, get stronger in our faith, our inspiration, our enthusiasm, and we should want to grow. Allah has said in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, فَأَخِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِدِينِ حَنِيفٍ فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. So set thy face steadily and truly to the faith. Establish Allah's handiwork according to the pattern on which He has made mankind. No change let there be in the work wrought by Allah. That is the standard religion. But most among mankind understand not. And most people don't understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created every human being according to the fitrah. And we celebrate, very recently we celebrate the Eid al-Fitrah. The fitrah is the pattern that Almighty God has established the very creation. You yourself, all of us, have been established on the pattern of the fitrah. Our religion, our way, Deen al-Islam, has been established on the pattern of fitrah. This is the pattern that Almighty God has established in the creation, the pattern of fitrah. And this pattern, this human pattern, this innate human quality, this fitrah, if it's placed in an environment that's confused, that's filthy, that's crazy, that natural fitrah will be changed around. So we'll find that, like our beloved Rasul, alayhi salatu wasalam, say, every human being is born a Muslim. Every human being is born submitting. Their very nature causes them to submit to the Creator. And it also says that everything in the creation glorifies Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything. So, we're, as human beings, we're given an option. We can either accept the guidance or we can refuse the guidance. There's no force. You can accept it or you can refuse it. But the fitrah is there. The fitrullah is there. But if this environment is so confused, it can be changed around. That natural inclination for you to submit. The baby is born submitting to the mother. Baby is snatched out the womb, snatched that baby out the womb, and hit that baby, and the baby, the baby cuddle up in the mama looking for the milk. The baby don't jump up on the table. Hey, what's up, doc? Pass me some of them pounds. Hey, what's up? No, the baby don't do that. The baby is born submitting. And they say, this is a Muslim. One submitting. So, if the environment is one that's a responsible environment, that has shoulder responsibilities, then this child, this creature, this entity, that can grow into the excellence that Almighty God said that it should grow into. So, this idea of the development of the human being, there are people with this knowledge, but they don't follow it. The main intention is to manipulate the appetites of the human being. They know that the human being is born submitting, so their main inclination, right at birth, is to work with that little baby. They work with him real young. And most of you have been worked with. We've been worked with real young. Tell you you was born in sin. You inherited the sin. All these things are burdens, big burdens. When you get up this size, it's a lot of stuff that's already happened to the human being. But this Quran, this knowledge in this Quran is what a lot of people don't like. In fact, a lot of people study this behind closed doors. They don't want this public. And then if it becomes public, they give you a distorted version of it. And then you think Islam is wearing a long robe, a gown or something. You put that on when you're getting ready to go to sleep. But they put it in such a way where you don't get the essence of what it's saying, what's communicated. The Quran is not the translation. The Quran is the script here. And it says Almighty God has revealed this in an Arabic Quran. Not the Arabic. You don't begin to worship the Arabic because you know a few Arabic words. These are Quranic concepts. These concepts were alien to the pagan Arabs and whatever. It says in an Arabic Quran. The wisdom is in it. There are people who speak Arabic right up the street. They say, okay, yes, yes, yes. And they're selling wine and liquor and beer and everything. So it's talking about something far more significant. The fitrah is what we celebrate, so the enthusiasm should be understanding what is taking place. So when we go through Eid Fitr, we're celebrating the victory of the human being with his abilities to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we're celebrating. Many times we can go we go through an Eid celebration and people in their own little private conversation. They leave and they don't understand. This is very important. This celebration of the victory of the human being to submit to his Creator. Because there are many others submitting to other things. They're submitted to created beings. They're submitted to forces of nature. They're submitted to everything, you name it. Study religious history of the human being. Anything that he becomes overawed with, he makes a deity out of it. And we are warned not to make a deity of anything in this creation. It would begouge you. It would begouge you. It would be a garara. In the Quran, Allah mentions it in the Quran and said it would be a garara. وَمَا حَيَاتَ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَا تَعَبْ Ul-Gurur. A gurur is something that will trick you. Not that it was just made for the express purpose to trick you. No, it can serve. Everything has been created for our sustenance and our use. But if we look at it in the wrong way, that very thing would become a trick for us. That very thing would become a hang-up for us. That very thing that could be used perhaps in a good way would become bad. And we see this is how the things in this creation become bad. Alcohol is good if it's used right. It's used in the lab. It's used in medical practices, medicinal uses. Beautiful. But the minute you start drinking it, your head gets cloudy and this and that, and you have a good feeling for a while. But after a while, it's going to do more harm than good. Not that anything is wrong with alcohol. In and of itself, it is the misuse of it. So anything, if it's misused, can be a garra, can a trick. It can begouge you. It can trick you. So we celebrate the human being going through Ramadan. And it challenges us on many different levels. Not just to do without food. Some people just don't like to eat. Some people just don't like to eat food. It's no big thing not to eat any food. Some people don't like to drink a lot of water. Some people don't like to drink. But these things promote life. And we are instructed not to partake in these things during the day for so many periods, etc., and whatever. But it challenges us. And after the completion of that, we celebrate our victory. Some of us never read a complete book from cover to cover, except a comic book, but many of us just going through Ramadan for the first year, have read the whole Quran for the first time, and now we feel invigorated, renewed. We are also celebrating a victory. I read a whole book from cover to cover. Each morning I got up and I read a juice. I read it, now I read the whole Quran. Next year I'll read it again, inshallah. And grow. So, celebrating this victory, this natural inclination of you as a human being to submit to Almighty God. There are people, so-called religious people, preaching every day. And they hear this Quran, and this Quran hits a lot of people because of the content of the message. This is the final revelation. And this is the fulfillment and completion of all previous revelation. And when you begin to speak this Quran, you begin to hit a lot of different points. Because there are people that worship in forces of nature. There are people worshiping their own ethnicity. There are people worshiping everything. But this Quran says nothing worthy of your worship but Almighty God. And when you face with these challenges of shaitan, don't worry, because shaitan won't even be able to touch you. Allah says these mukhlasina lahudin won't even be able to be touched by shaitan. The mukhlasina lahudin. And told shaitan, you go, give him respite. And shaitan say, well, I'm going to prove this one unworthy. You say, well, you go ahead with that. I'll put you in the hell and all the rest of them in the hell with you. But my mukhlisina lahudin, you won't be able to touch. And the mukhlis from khalasa means clean and pure. And it's just, you know, these influences not affect the true believer. These influences only strengthen the believer. The mukhlisina lahudin. So this idea, this natural inclination, it says everyone was created on the pattern of the fitrah, the pattern that we see in this creation of submitting to Almighty God. Now, if you see a person, this is a big point, if you see a person that don't think like you, you can't say and offer all these condemnatory remarks, and we have that too. We see a person, because they are not of our community or they're not Muslim, we say, well, they're kuffar. They're kuffar. Because they don't think. No, Allah says, Fitratullahi lati fatra nasa alayha. Allah has created the nasa, the human beings, all of them. It doesn't say the fitra Muslim. No, Allah has created, you can't have your shoes on. Take your shoes off and then you. Allah has created the fitra. The fitra. It said the fitra nas. The fitra nas. The fitra nas. Allah has created all of the human beings on the, it says fitra nas. It didn't say, I've created the Muslims only on this pattern, only on the fitra. No, it's created all human beings. So when you see the Christian, you see the Jew, you see these other people, because they don't think like you as a Muslim. Don't think that you're better than they are. Allah has created the fitra in them as well. But just because their circumstances don't allow them to see it yet, alhamdulillah, because we know there are many Jews that become Muslim. There are many Christians that become Muslim. There are many atheists that become Muslim. There are many people who have become Muslim because of the truth that Islam espouses. Excuse me. So the fitrah, Allah has created the fitrah, all human beings on the fitrah. So you see that person out there, a human being, never heard of Islam. They have the fitrah in them as well. But you just have to touch the person, reach the person, and share with them what Islam is, and show them that they too have a choice as a human being. Every human being has a choice. When you take a person's choice away from them, you don't have true religion. Everybody is born with these attributes, with the fitrah, with the amara, with the lawama, and they strive for the nafs and mutma'inna, all these things, but they have to find out what they are. Allah has created all of the people on the fitrah. So you see the brother or the sister that come into Islam, he takes the shahadatain, he looks at the Christian brother, oh, he's beating his tambourine, he's hollering and singing and all this, and then he wants to talk. Hey, that Kufa, I ain't nobody. He's this. But this one over here, he's paying his bills, he's taking care of his wife, he's got a good job, he wants things in life, and here you over here walking around here, you got some incense on, you don't want to work, you think this, you say, and you don't forgot reality. You missed it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that he has created everybody on the fitrah. So we have to be conscious of that. He has created everyone on the basis of the fitrah. That natural pattern for the human being to submit to Almighty God. So, many times we become so judgmental, so cynical. And what is the best indication of the fitrah? We are the best indication. Because nobody said, come from the Arab world and come over here to America and say, let me have your tired, hungry, oppressed masses come to Al-Islam. Nobody did that. But many of us have come to the Islam, come to the Quran. Oh yes, when we first heard it, it wasn't in its purity, it was polluted. But this is the plan and the will of God. And eventually, we disband the impurities. Because we found out that God can't be a man. And we gave up Faradism. Because we knew, as men, we knew our weaknesses. All of us know that. How the hell God gonna be a man? You know your weaknesses. I know mine. So, to say that Almighty God is a man, you don't have to go through a lot of conversation about that one. This is a foolish notion to suggest that Almighty God is a man. Or that Almighty God needs food. These are weaknesses. But because the fitrah was in us, when we heard the message, we said, that's what I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of that. Because I know that's more dignified. That speaks to my very nature. It speaks to my biology. It speaks to my spirituality. It speaks to my emotions. And I want to be a part of that. And many of us came into Al-Islam enthusiastic. So the fitrah, that goodness in the human being, is in there. Now, sometimes we come to a community and we find people, they don't want to respect human goodness. You find a brother corrupt as he can be. He's in and out of jail. You know, we all make a mistake, but he becomes a pattern. He's in and out, doing all kind of, yeah, that's the brother, yeah, he make the shot. And here's someone here, they're good, they're charitable, they want to participate, and this and that and the other, and nothing's good is said about that person. Well, a new person look at that and say, y'all, that's a crazy kind of religion. Y'all don't respect human goodness? What kind of religion is this? The thugs and the crooks, they get all kind of props. But the good people, that just want to be good and charitable, they get knocked in the head. What kind of religion is this? So the fitrah, the natural inclination for the human being to want to be right, that want to serve Almighty God, this is what the fitrah is. And this is what we celebrate. Because there are people that come to us from all kinds of situations. Most of our relatives came into Christianity not because of choice, but because of the environment. Not because of choice, but because of the environment. But the fitrah was still in there. And the abuses. Somebody told you, yeah, God was this old white man. I'm not making fun, but you know, white folks, they're used to that Lord language. You know, this is the Lord. Because they got Lord Harry Greystone, Todd was Lord. And in England, they talk that Lord stuff all the time. So you don't have to go and preach about the Lord and what's the correct understanding of the Lord. They tell you that this is a white man. And that was the father, and his son was, the father was an old white man, and the son is a young white man. You should know, you should see through that right away. And you don't have to preach on it too much, and the enlightened of the European would confirm that for you. So the fitrah, this fitrah is what we celebrate, the natural inclination for the human being to serve Almighty God and Almighty God alone. Many people come into their view because of circumstances. They come into their religious understanding because of the circumstances. But Al-Islam is a chance and opportunity for us to grow in every dimension. And it's not something where it's not something that's so unnatural and unreasonable. See, we can point to people that we feel that don't think like us, but we have a situation. Well, first of all, we say it like this. If we look at our political biases, if we look at this religion, if we look at this Quran with our political biases, we won't find ourselves worthy of serving humanity. If we look at the fitrah to Allah, with our cultural biases, my culture is supposed to put me over other human beings. You're not fit to serve humanity. Because Al-Islam is a religion for all the people. The God concept is for all human beings. Be you African, be you Caucasian, be you Arab, be you Indian, or whatever. It's for all human beings. But if you look at it with a cultural bias that feel that your fitrah puts you over other ethnic groups, then you are reading into Almighty God's words that are not there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, فَتْرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. Allah has created all human beings with a natural inclination to worship God Almighty. So if you feel that your particular culture puts you over, and many of us come, we read Bible, we read Quran, we read Torah with feelings of inferiority. We rush into culturalism. We won't bust a grape for ourselves, but we'll go out here, somebody dresses up with a costume, some thicker beads that glow in the dark, and we'll just escape from our reality. Just escape. And we see other communities, you look down the street of other communities, they put their name up on there. Ajib, Rashadeen, I use my name because I don't want to make anybody think I'm talking about them. Ajib Rashadeen's business right down there on Elijah Muhammad Boulevard. Brother Muhammad Akbar's business down here. Brother so-and-so. We don't see our name. Our names should be popping up down here, down the street, on our business interests, our vision and stuff like that. We don't see that. We see dilapidation. We see other cultures come. They want to open up a restaurant. They put their name up on it. And they work together. They interest. Don't nobody call them talking about them. No, this is the American way. And then we're in a situation, we don't want any banner cots for ourselves. We don't want any blessings for ourselves. That's a shame. We have lost the understanding of this fitrah, this celebration of what Almighty God has put in me naturally to want something for myself. So this is truly a celebration. You should want to something for yourself. You don't have to become any other ethnic group. The Muslim world is on welfare. I say it again. The Muslim world is on welfare.
You're right. You're right.
The world is Indonesia, largest Muslim country. It takes America to bail them out. Saudi Arabia, he has a lot of money, but they're on welfare.
Right.
If we understand the very unique position we have here of being blessed with this Quran, we can see how people are trying all kind of little maneuvers to take our enthusiasm from us. I love this religion. with enthusiasm because I've realized where I came from. As long as I keep the idea of where I came from, oh, I'm in a good position. A real good position. I tell them about what Islam is. I tell them that I was invited out to a church. I was at church Monday. I was invited out to a lot of places. Yeah, I'm interacting with other people. What is about Islam? Let me tell you what it is. Yes, we want some business. Well, do you feel like, yes, I love my Muslim brothers and sisters. Yes, yes, yes. But my main hope is not so much that all of us get together first. My main hope is that I want the community I'm from to get the same blessings that these other Muslim communities have. I see this Muslim community over here, they're very sophisticated, got a nice school, got a nice language lab, they're working with their young children. That's the hope that I want for my community. I don't want to go out there and all my congregation on welfare don't want anything, just want the welfare department. No, I want the same blessings that America has to offer. This is my spirit. So this should be all of our spirit. When I came here, these pioneers left me in a real good position. They left me, I came from out there. When I came here, these pioneers, when it wasn't fashionable, 50, 60 years old, when it wasn't fashionable for a black person to stand up and say, I'm black, let's know I'm Muslim, stood up. And they invested in this community. All over the United States, they invested in this community. They didn't get CDs and IRAs and had an investment portfolio like you knew was talking about. They invested in the community. And they established a foundation for me to stand up on and do what I'm supposed to do, to bring about more fruition of what I started with. This is what we have to understand. You want to dress up with some little long gown and you're all holy and I'm holy now, my name's... No, it's more than that. And the people all over the world know it's more than that. People trying to take advantage of what this America is, what it offers. And this is what Frederick Douglass, this is what Malcolm X, this is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this is what all of them wanted America to live up to the promise and the logic of what America's creed was. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Yes! This is what all these leaders was fighting for, to get America to stand up to the logic and the creed. Somebody got to always start agitating until America fulfills its promise. I ain't got my 40 acres and my mule yet either. I know about that. I ain't gonna forget nothing about my reality. Somebody dressed me up. Yeah, brother, you real Muslim now. You got the whole package. You got thicker beard, glow in the dark. You got a kufi. You got this. You got that. You know. No. I want the same blessings that every other person. We should have all kind of enthusiasm. But if it's not there in the heart, you don't get way spooky there. No, Allah has put that fitra in you. It's already in you. The fitra. That natural inclination to know that any white man ain't God. And you don't have to spend a lot of time, oh brother, why you talking so hard on the Christian? No, God ain't no man. He ain't no black man either. You ought to cut that nonsense out. He got red eyes. Yeah, okay, I see a whole lot of red hair. His hair was like wool and he got red eyes. You ought to cut that stuff out. So, we're in a situation where we celebrate this natural inclination to submit to Almighty God. So we came into this religion from 1492 to 1952. Muslims around the world were scared to stand up and say, I'm a Muslim. Brother come from one of these so-called Muslim countries. His name is Rahman. His name Raymond. My name Raymond. What's your name? Raymond. Oh, brother's name is Fareed from one of these so-called Muslim countries. I'm not going to name a single one of them. From one of these, his name is Fareed. Fareed? Yeah, call me Fred. Look, when it was unfashionable to stand up and say, I'm a Muslim. And we struggle to tell a person what the proper Muslim diet is. That those trotters and those waggers and those things you've been eating, no, that's not the proper Muslim diet. Come on in and say, this is the proper Muslim diet. So we find the Muslim diet, and then here's somebody right across the water come, open up a store selling pig and a hog and beer and everything, and then you come in there telling me, yeah, Brother Rashadeen, I saw a Muslim. I saw a real Muslim the other day, and he's selling liquor, he's selling pig, and he got me working on his lottery machine. I saw a real Muslim. Now, what do you think that's going to do to me? And all this work we do trying to share what the Islam is and everything, and you come to me, I saw a real one the other day. And then I'm struggling on Al-Fatiha. I'm struggling on Alif, I'm struggling on how to say my prayers and everything. And then here's one come over here, speaking perfectly. Look. This is a celebration, dear Muslims. Just being Muslim and coming into the Quran, the purity of the Quran. But if you don't have it in your heart, you want to educate your children, but it's not in your heart, you drop your children off because this is nothing but a babysitting operation to you. So since it's just a babysitting operation, you come drop your children off, but you don't believe in anything that's being preached yourself. Then when your child learning the prayers, they go home and see you don't know your prayers, they ask you a question, you don't know nothing, you start making up stuff for them. Then you wonder why you ain't got no enthusiasm. But you'll be replaced with someone who does. Or someone who loves it, who loves this religion. And when we see this enthusiasm, we see this model, these people that love Allah, the love what Allah has for us, you'll see people coming in this religion from crowds. I mean, people just be crowds. And it says, pray for the mercy of God when the people start coming in this religion in crowds. The only reason people staying in back, because they're seeing all this old crazy behavior. But even we shouldn't look too bad at that, because only look at yesterday, what it was even yesterday. Before when the chairs was in there. Right before the chairs were removed, people, brother trying to pickpocket a brother out, the wallet out of his pocket, fight going on downstairs, outside. Look with the savagery. And people wouldn't even want to sit among us only yesterday. So we got a lot to celebrate for where we are today. A lot going for us. But this is the time of this is the day of the Quran. And if you got some little hang up, we all can, Ya Allah, please help me, because I know this is beneath the excellence of a human being for me to fall to these depths. If people could see this in me, what I'm about, what I'm going to do, I just hate this. Oh, this is not the fitrah that you put in me. Oh, Allah. And Allah would answer your prayers. You'll get stronger. And this is what we celebrate. This is the victory. If you can't handle it, you want that corrupt stuff, you can go to that. Nobody would force you. But if you're going to straddle the fence, you're going to be hurt. You ain't got but a little bit of faith, Allah ain't going to burden you if you ain't got your faith. It's just like that. You got a little bit of faith. You think Allah will burden you? Allah will never burden you. If your faith is too little, go. Pray to Allah. But there's no force. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. So we, dear beloved Muslims, in conclusion of this khutbah, celebration of the victory of the human being to submit to Almighty God. So we see people from different religions, persuasions. We don't know that fitr is in them. It's not us. Allah is the judge, not you. You know, sometimes we turn people away like we got the keys of heaven and hell. Don't even own the car that we drive it. But we want to make it appear that we have the keys to heaven and hell. And if you see a person, if their circumstances made them think that way, a lot of us came from Christians. A lot of us came from that. You know, they say, well, don't worry, somebody done paid the price. All your sins are forgiven. And that sounds good to you. Whatever you did is forgiven. I mean, that's you think about that, that's captivating. Whatever you did is being forgiven, child. But if all of them were forgiven, none of them were paid for. You tell me, I told one, he looked so funny. Yeah, Rashadeen, all your sins are forgiven. I said, all of them? Well, none of them were paid for. If all of them were forgiven, then he said, well, all of them were paid for. Well, now, if all of them were paid for now, then none of them were really forgiven. What are you saying? But what happens is, we circumstances. But we're not. We have to understand what Almighty God has revealed in this Quran to our beloved prophet. We don't make any distinctions between the messengers of God. When you become Muslim, you don't return now on Jesus. We accept Jesus. We love Jesus. And his mother, all of them are restored in their rightful position. Jesus, Isa ibn Maryam, Moses, Musa, all of the messengers of God were brothers. They didn't have these silly little hang-ups. So we could talk about a lot of that, but the more you find out about what Islam espouses, you'll find that this is the answer to man's dilemma. Mankind is looking for a direction. He's tired of the dogma. If you talk to the average, and I do that at work. I talk to Caucasians, I talk to a lot of different ethnic groups. No one is willing to go back. We're the only ones that go back. You talk to the Muslim. He wants to go back 1,400 years, the glorious years of yesterday. Yes, that's good. But Allah, this message is for all times. And when you talk about contemporary problems, you say, well, you know. You got young people in school today, Muslim, from so-called Muslim homes, little children, and they go to school and talk about chemistry is kufar knowledge. Chemistry is kufar knowledge. Math, oh, that's kufar. Oh, that's kufar knowledge. I don't want that. How do you think a person like that is going to be functional in society? This is the problem. So we got people that misunderstand that this religion was a spark for enlightenment. Education is key. Now, you don't have to be educated, but just identify with education. Support education. But you got people talk, well, that's the kufar. That's the kufar knowledge. Then you wonder why. And these are. You see the children, so you imagine how the parents are thinking. Now, how do you qualify? All the knowledge comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the knowledge. And what the disbelievers have done, they approach their disbelief enthusiastic to turn the righteousness away. But does that mean that the Muslims shouldn't become involved and dynamic? And have to depend on everybody else to build a masjid for him, to open a halal store for him, to do all of this? Other people look at you, they may not tell you, but they'll know. That's not what Islam espouses. Allah wants the blessing for the believer. Allah promises this. You walking around there, that's kufa. That's what's the kufa knowledge. No, we want Islamic engineers, electricians, construction workers, whatever you name it. We want Muslims in those positions. If you got disbelievers excelling, why should we excel? And there are many hadith. A brother, he down there, he got so much dictionary. Yeah, and they ask, who feeds him? They say, we do. Well, they say, you're better than him. He's in the mosque all day praying. And you providing food for him. You providing the amenities for his life. What you look like me taking your wife out to dinner? She gonna be my wife if I'm taking her out and feeding her and everything. And you're a man, you should want me to take your wife out for dinner. I mean, it's simple, it's natural. What I look like, you a man, got all this knowledge and everything, and then your wife, she wants a nice dinner. Yeah, come on, Sister Mariam, come on, I'll take you out. Let me take you out for dinner. No! Allah has blessed us with the grow into our responsibility. I can't lead you in the sunnah. You have to lead yourself in the sunnah. This is a sign for us. I cannot lead you in the sunnah. You have to lead yourself in the sunnah. You have to grow up. I have to grow up. The community has to grow up and be responsible. Why is it everybody else, other people got to accommodate us? Our newspaper, we'll do everything. We'll bust a grape for ourselves. And go out and be so agreeable around other people. I'm not saying you shouldn't be agreeable around other people. Yes, always be agreeable. But don't forget your reality. Come around us and act all unnatural, spooky, and crazy and everything. Go around other people and act just as sensible. Yeah, well, international banking, I think, well, I don't think Greenspan was right. You give all kind of commentary on sensible stuff. Get around here and go, word up. Hey, what's up? So we have to come out of that. We should strive for the excellence and the blessings for our community like anybody else. And if your brother or your sister like nice things, that like nice for the community, they should want that for you. We can say much more, but we want to make some announcements. We're supposed to have, was at a church, a Lutheran church, this Monday. And we're going to have, February 8th, it's going to be here. What's called, it used to be called the National Association for Christians and Jews. And then Muslims started meeting in this organization. They changed it to the National Conference of Community Justice. So it's going to be here. It's going to be, the topic is going to be diversity, the challenge of diversity. And it's going to be right here, Christian, Muslims, and Jews. And everybody is welcome. And it's 7:30 p.m. It's going to be February 8th. Put it on your calendar. We'll have a handout on it. And it's going to be, we put that on our little program. We have a cable program that comes on channel 20 now.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفر إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
To cover the knowledge, and I accept our prayer.